Watch Network.
Art functions as a catalyst for religious experience. It's almost like part of the discipline of being a religious person is to be creative in some way, whether it's through prayer, through spiritual discipline, through helping other people.
I think the arts create an avenue, a real easy way to express the things of your faith and people to benefit and take from that, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, it's not confrontational.
CBS presents The Arts Within Religion. The narrator is Ted Holmes.
Your Lord is watching, and he knows every step that you take.
I think when people see the two words Islam and hip-hop, it's kind of like they had to do a double take. But once they hear what we're doing, they're like, man, this is good stuff.
There's a phenomenon now that's happened like within the last 10 years of this whole idea of Islamic music, how it can be used to promote goodness and to promote benefits for Muslims as well as, non-Muslims, people of all faiths.
I can find that note again. It's like, for us as Muslims, this is one of the things that can live on after you pass. If people take positive things for something that you said or did, you still get reward for that.
Joshua Salam, Naeem Muhammad, and Abdul Malik Ahmad are all members of an Islamic hip-hop group known as Native Deen. Friends since childhood, they met one summer while attending Muslim youth camp.
This camp brought youth from all over the United States to one city, and we met and did lectures and games. And at the end of each week, there was entertainment session. So that's kind of how we found out that we had a lot in common, that we were entertainers, or we liked to write and rap and sing and things like that.
Supposed to do a job and I never got paid now. Now in 93, ask for your feet.
I remember hearing Josh. He was the first real Muslim person that I had seen doing rap, and he was doing it well.
Yes, I'm a Muslim, and usually Muslims do not jam. But I'm an exception, okay, take me for who I am.
And that just basically encouraged me to start writing and to start developing.
At that time, like the early 80s when we were growing up, I mean, that was the language. This art form, my parents didn't have this music. My older brother didn't have this music. So this was like an ownership almost. We have generations of hip-hoppers now. But when we were growing up, this was like this new thing.
When I first started to use that as a medium, as an art for myself, I think it was after I heard people who could use it positively.
It was something that was the spirit of social change and speaking to the current situation. And unfortunately, a lot of people's current situations aren't positive.
I always say that we didn't choose hip-hop. It chose us. This is what we were doing as kids. This is what we sang, playing basketball, football, rapping, going to school, things like that. So it was just kind of naturally came out of us, rapping about being Muslim in America.
Man, it's a struggle. Trying to be a Muslim man, staying out of trouble.
We were writing about the things that happened to us in life. So back then,
hands on remote control just to save my soul.
You might be writing about trying to find a place to pray, in the middle class, or just the different peer pressures and stuff that you would deal with growing up.
Well, I think being African American and being Muslim always looked at as different.
The biggest, hardest part, I'm gonna tell you, really, was the name. You're the only kid in a place named Naeem, or Abdul Malik goes into the playground. Yeah. He's like, "What's your name, kid?" Abdul Malik. What?
I don't need to get high. Some people do and some people die.
We started to find that people were saying that was really what I went through. And one person even likened it to say that this was like the theme music for Muslims growing up in the U.S.
After graduating from high school and college, the group formally came together in the year 2000. They called themselves Native Deen. The word Deen is Arabic for religion.
Ever been on the driving side and you're riding, you're looking through the glass of your car on the side?
Primarily, anything that happens to us, we somehow relate it to our book, the Quran, or some saying of the Prophet, right? So when we see, oh man, did you see what happened to how that guy treated that girl? Yeah. Okay, in our mind, there's some story in our book or in the saying of the Prophet that it kind of relates to.
A small little thing that can cling and just ring and will bring the blessing from Allah, who's the king.
We feel strongly about crime. We feel strongly about youth. So when we see some type of conflict in any of those areas, I think it inspires us to do something. Some people may speak about it, some people may draw it. We write, songs about it. There's an opinion in Islam that wind and string instruments are forbidden. And others even say that all musical instrumentation is forbidden other than a particular type of instrument that the Prophet used. And there's several opinions, and we can't, necessarily do everything for everyone, so we chose a path that we felt would be kind of in the middle.
So we took the framework that was already there and brought hip-hop to it. And then they saw us, the way we carry ourselves. We try to dress in a proper way and not, no too much bling bling.
Too much.
Too much.
No
bling
bling at all. I think we're speaking for our community by speaking about life. A lot of the stuff that we write about, from right now, we've been writing about things that are more introspective, how we're developing spiritually ourselves. I think, and we know a lot of the lyrics promote people to do better.
Picking up trash on the path in a flash, taking glass from the grass as you pass to your class.
Whenever I write something, I try to live it. So when we talk about doing small deeds and we read it in maybe our scripture and people talk about it, it puts pressure on me that I have to do it, When we talk about, fasting and praying and visiting the masjid, visiting people who are sick, being kind to our neighbors, if I'm gonna speak about it and talk about it, this is something that I want to practice.
I think it opens the door to maybe someone for whatever reason might be scared to walk into a mosque. Whatever they think, whoa man, I gotta, will they let me in? Well, do I know how to dress right? Do I know how to do this right? Or am I gonna say something that's gonna offend someone? Where maybe if they pick up, our CD, maybe they can learn a couple of things that way easily.
I just can't believe.
And I think what they'll see is that this music is something that they can relate to because it has a sound and a feel that they're used to. But we're talking from a different perspective. We travel around a lot, and you start to see in the audience, it's not just Muslims out there.
We are Native Deen.
You start to see a few non-Muslims there, even some student groups bring us on for their Islam awareness weeks on campuses. And people think, you Muslims, the only thing you guys do, you go in your little house and pray and then you fast, and I don't even think you guys have any fun or anything like that. And then boom.
Your pleasure, your mercy, your ajr, your jannah forever.
Native Deen comes on campus and it's like,
Those who listen, heeded to the message.
what? and it's a great time.
We are now role models to a lot of people, and there's a certain burden that comes with that. Yet there's also a certain amount of blessing that you feel that something that you did has touched someone in a land that we've never heard of or been to.
I think recently people were wanted to learn, how do we live this faith beyond the mosque, beyond the parking lot of the mosque? Where do I take this? Can I find faith in the way I entertain myself? Can I find faith or Islam in the things I do with my family that aren't directly connected to the masjid? And they're finding that now through this type of music and all types of other cultural art forms when they incorporate Islam with it.
The Arts Within Religion will continue after this message.
And he knows every step that you take, and he knows every plan that you make, and he can catch your every mistake, and he can catch your every mistake.